Hey there and welcome back to the channel. Almost a year ago, I made a video about the original Superdimension Fortress Macross. Say that 25 times fast. While I really enjoyed that show, aside from certain aspects, after I was done, I just sort of moved on without watching any of the sequels or OVAs, and I really shouldn't have done that because goddamn, Macross Plus is awesome. Quick bit of backstory before we begin. Macross actually had a sequel OVA in 1992 entitled Macross 2: Lovers Again. However, because of the absolute nightmare that is licensing with the Macross IP, Macross 2 was made without any involvement from its original creators. And while it was a bestseller in the early 90s, its status among the fans remains a mediocre curiosity. This basically happened because after Studio New made Do You Remember Love, they no longer wanted to remember the franchise, or work on it, I should say. Well, Shoji Kawamori took one look at Macross 2 and said, "What have you done to my boy?" and decided that the series' legacy belonged in the hands of its original creators. And so Macross Plus was born, and let me tell you, I'm really glad that it was. Macross Plus is a 4-episode OVA that features some of the best animation I've seen since Akira. High praise, I know. It deals with the philosophical realities of technologies that we're still dealing with to this day. And of course, it has a phenomenal soundtrack. The composer was Yoko Kanno, and she does some of her best work here since Turn A Gundam. I'm not lying when I say I liked this show enough that I think that every mecha fan should watch it, even without seeing the original 1982 series. Plus, it takes place exactly 30 years after the original series' conclusion, and sees humanity join hand in hand with the aliens and Trotty to create a new spacefaring UN government. Military technology is about to take a step into a new era, as the armed forces begin a project codenamed Supernova to create a new generation of transforming fighter jet. Involved in the program are hot-blooded pilots whose personal grudges come to the forefront, putting the entire project in jeopardy. Let's talk about Macross Plus. Hey there, before we go on any longer, I want to stop and thank today's sponsor. Me, motherfucker. I don't know if I can say that. I don't have a sponsor, so it's just me. Intrusively reminding you to please like, subscribe if you like it, and leave a comment. It really helps. Also, I have a gaming channel that's just Let's Plays because I'm old. So if you like that sort of content, also check that out. Links in the description. Anyway, that's it. Back to the video. Thank you again. Macross Plus is dedicated to all pioneers, a poignant phrase that fades directly into some high-octane mecha carnage. Okay, so I said this looks as good as Akira, and maybe that's a bit hyperbolic, but I mean, look at this. The cameras flying around the Valkyrie look absolutely amazing with an absurd amount of detail. Hotshot pilot Isamu Dyson pulls off some amazing moves, and we learn he's the type of guy that's a great pilot, but just terrible at following orders. Because of this, Dyson is punished by being shipped off to a military base in the middle of nowhere on a planet called New Eden. Dyson's reaction isn't exactly what the brass hoped for. He sees the opportunity to be a test pilot for prototype fighters as a huge opportunity. On his way to New Eden, Dyson is passed by an incredibly fast-moving craft, making him all the more excited to get to work. This particular fighter is known as the Galaxy Industries YF-21, or Omega-1, and is controlled by directly linking to the pilot's brain, giving them extreme precision over every movement as if the fighter were their own body. The YF-21 is capable of performing a full jump on its own, allowing it to cover vast distances without an entire support vessel. This makes it perfect for covert operations and great for deploying hit-and-run tactics, making it a front-running candidate to succeed the current VF-11 Thunderbolt. We learn that Dyson has turned down multiple promotions, mostly because if he gets promoted too much, they won't let him fly anymore. He really loves flying, it's his dream, and it's something that he makes his top priority at all times. I actually really like Dyson as a character. He's stubborn, cocky, and has a mouth way too big for his own good, but it makes him really fun to watch. Dyson is to be the pilot of the competing Shinsei Industries YF-19, a craft that relies heavily on the skill and reactions of the pilot instead of connecting directly to their brain. Though the YF-19 does include some advanced AI controls to help and a brand new cockpit monitor system that allows the pilot much better situational awareness. It's during this briefing that we meet the pilot of the YF-21, a Zentradi half-breed named Guld Goa Bowman. Bowman and Dyson know each other, and yeah, if you thought they weren't going to bring 10-year-old grudges into their work, well, think again. Bowman straight up tells the board that Dyson will be a waste for the program, and that he only thinks of himself and has no self-control. Dyson responds to this by punching the monitor at his seat so hard that it shatters, immediately proving Bowman's point. I honestly think I feel the worst for their CEO, Colonel Millard, because he looks like he's 2 weeks from retirement and doesn't need this shit right now. Despite Bowman's objections, Dyson is the best pilot for the YF-19, though it is currently undergoing repairs and won't be back for about a week. In the meantime, Dyson gets acquainted with the rest of the Shinsei test team, including the young designer Dr. Newman and the aeronautics researcher Lucy McMillan. And by being acquainted, I mean he makes fun of Newman's age and starts hitting on Lucy. To his credit, the next scene is him taking Lucy out to lunch on his cool motorcycle, so you gotta hand it to Dyson, he has charisma. While out, the couple see an ad for an upcoming concert by well-known musical star Sharon Apple. Dyson says he recognizes the voice in the ad, and Lucy replies with, "That's impossible, she's not a human," and this is where I realize that they still have Vocaloids in the future and they're taking over. That's actually not too far off base, as we see that Sharon Apple is an AI singer with a legion of adoring fans. As she arrives in Eden City, she even gets to make a real-life appearance, and, well, I didn't think she would look like a horrifying robot with a Xbox Series X for a head, but there she is. The show knows it's creepy too, as it shows us a view from Sharon's eye, which looks like something right out of the Terminator. They even play ominous music during this. Bowman sees an interview on TV with Sharon's producer, a woman named Myung Fang Lone, a woman that he knows. Another point about Bowman, we see him being really sweaty the night after the briefing and convulsing, then he has to take some pills, which, that always works out well for anime characters. Whether this is because of the strain on his mind from piloting the YF-21 with his brain, or perhaps something else, remains to be answered. Macross Plus presents a really interesting take on the production of art, and I think that it's actually become a more profound take as time has gone on. Sharon Apple's music is shown to be produced to specifically trigger dopamine responses in people's brains. When I think about how the current music industry specifically creates music to have a 15-second hook so that it gets popular on TikTok, well, it's kind of poignant. And look, I don't really want to get waist deep in the whole is AI art really art argument, but I think it's kind of telling that even back in the 90s, the team behind Macross Plus was already trying to answer this question. Sharon uses Myung as a sort of basis for her personality and emotions. Her team has never been able to make that final breakthrough and create a true AI with its own emotions and thoughts. So much like how AI art today has to scrape the work of unknowing human artists that pour real emotion and soul into their work, Sharon takes Myung's thoughts and inspirations and uses them to create some commercially viable entertainment. Myung catches a cab and goes to a place from her youth, Star Hill. It just so happens that Bowman was getting a little nostalgic and they meet by chance. Not long after, Dyson shows up, and if you thought there was bad blood between the two at the debrief, well, now it's even worse as the two almost get into a fistfight. This throuple grew up here on New Eden, being fast friends until some unnamed tragedy broke them apart. While the show doesn't fully reveal the three's history just yet, whatever happened was bad enough that neither Dyson or Bowman can move on 7 years later. And Myung ran from her problems so hard that she gave up her life's passion in singing. Dyson decides at this moment to completely take over the project. The next day, Bowman flies a test run where he's supposed to be showing up some drones. Dyson flies in a tracker unit and is supposed to be capturing the YF-21 on camera, but decides to take the chance to put his skills to the test. Dyson ends up getting in the way, and the distraction causes intense mental strain on Bowman and results in a near crash. Dyson is ordered to save Bowman since it was sort of his fault, and this results in the Zentradi pilot attempting to crush Dyson with downward force. He even switches the Omega to manual control to do it. No wonder they say he's prone to violent mood swings. Colonel Millard reprimands Bowman, who blames a glitch in the command recognition unit for the whole attempted murder thing. Dyson, Newman, and Lucy attend the Sharon Apple concert, and it seems that the concert goers all wear special bracelets that help the producers measure excitement levels. This AI concert is pretty trippy with all the holographic visuals, and I believe the art team had a lot of fun flexing their visual muscles on this one. Macross Plus is pretty notable for being an early example of an anime production team using CGI to enhance their traditional art. Honestly, it took me a while to even notice it. Whatever technology they were using to make giant holographic women made out of aquatic thermal gases is alright by me. Because Sharon isn't a true AI and takes her base emotions from Myung's brain, when she sees Dyson in the crowd, she becomes a little obsessed with him. Newman is a little code kitty hacker guy and tries to hack Sharon. Don't ask how the specifics of that particular action and all the other hacking. It's vague and unimportant in the end, but the Sharon hologram is attracted right to Dyson instead. And it's really attracted to him. I mean, like, best concert ever. The YF-19 finally arrives on base, and while the 21 is a bulkier blue heavy machine, the 19 is sleek and enjoys a color scheme much closer to the Thunderbolt, or Valkyrie, that we know and love. Dyson immediately pushes his skills to the limit, causing everyone on the team to think that he's lost control of the prototype, but really he was just showing off by drawing a picture in the sky. This leads to a beautifully animated montage of the two prototypes competing in a bunch of tests. Meanwhile, we're introduced to a scientist behind Sharon's AI named Marge. He's doing a shady backroom deal to acquire what he calls the final poker chip, an advanced AI brain microchip that he hopes will complete Sharon. That can't go wrong, buying military surplus parts in a dark room. Myung reconnects with her friend Kate and goes out to do some karaoke with them. They do sing like 10 seconds of Minmei's song My Boyfriend is a Pilot from the original show, but they stop quickly enough that I didn't go into a flashback episode. But I can only listen to Choo Choo, My Boyfriend is a Pilot so many times before I want to fucking microphone my own eardrums. Kate tells Myung that she's up to sing next, and oh boy, won't that be great since, you know, she loves singing so much. I guess not, because Myung freaks out and screams that she just wants to leave her past behind, damn it, which is a really dramatic reaction to have to being asked to sing when you go out with your friends to karaoke. Cade tries to smooth things over by calling Dyson, who is surprisingly hanging out with Newman. As an aside, I really like Dyson's characterization here. Like, he's an asshole most of the time, sure, but he still goes and just chills with his teammates. Kate tells him that Myung is out with them but acting weird, and he's just like, not my problem. She even tries to get him to come out by saying Bowman will be there, but it doesn't work. At first I thought this was just a ploy to get Dyson to come out, but Bowman actually shows up to simp. Myung has already left in a cab and eventually ends up going back to the concert hall where she pours her heart out in front of Sharon's AI core. She tells it that she hates it and its music and also her old music from her youth, just wanting to forget it all before finally falling asleep. Not long after, Dyson and Bowman both get a strange automated phone call, warning them that there will be a fire at the theater in 30 minutes. Creepy Terminator Sharon watches Myung sleep and starts an electrical fire. It even loops the security footage so the guards don't notice. Both men rush to the concert hall, but Bowman arrives first, making his way into the room holding Sharon and Myung. The building's security doors try to stop him from leaving by closing on him, damn near cutting him in half until the fire suppression system finally goes off, saving them both. Bowman takes Myung back to her hotel room. kind of weird that he knows where it is. And when she wakes up, she treats his wounds. Myung confides in Bowman that she thought she never wanted to see him again, but really she was just running, and it's implied that the two spend a night together as a result. Dyson notices Bowman's wounds the next day, and Bowman warns him to stay away from Myung. This is where Bowman starts to really exude creepy stalker vibes. There are red flags popping out of this guy at every turn. While they're out running more tests on the prototypes later that day, both pilots decide to go off course and duke it out in a nearby training area. There's some great action here as the two mechs trade paint rounds while maneuvering through the city. Eventually Dyson gains the upper hand, or maybe I should say upper foot, because Dyson starts beating the shit out of him. Just as it seems the YF-19 is about to finish the 21, a shot rings out and Dyson is flung backwards. Smoke pours out of the 19, damage that could only have been inflicted by a live rifle round. While this show knows how to do a cliffhanger, Bowman is rightfully put in front of an inquiry board for his actions during training. He doesn't seem to show much remorse for what he deems a workplace accident. He also suggests that the gun pod that he fired was loaded with live ordnance because the YF-19 team hacked into the ammunition dispersal system to set him up. A pretty big accusation with no evidence beyond Newman being a hacker whiz kid. The board questions Bowman on why the brainwave readout is blank at the time of the accident, and he said that he had to switch over to manual control. Probably grounds for dismissal from the project until Colonel Millard sticks his neck out for him, and they decide to kind of chalk it up as a glitch in the inventory management system, ultimately making it just a workplace accident. Millard believes that the Macross government is moving in a direction that will leave soldiers and pilots behind, and so he's willing to cover for Bowman because he can't afford any delay to the project. Dyson is recovering well enough, and Myung has been hanging out by his side since he woke up. Dyson doesn't have time to think about her though, because he's too busy seeing a giant bird and chasing it on a motorcycle. Though he is the most immature of the main trio, Dyson does seem to have been the one most able to escape his past trauma. I think that's because he has a one-track mind and a shonen protagonist-style drive to attain his one goal of being the best pilot. Plus, Dyson is kind of a narcissist, though many of those personality traits come off as a defense mechanism, a way to not get too attached to people because of his past experiences. Bowman shows up with sarcasm flowers at the hospital for Dyson, but when he and Myung both return, it turns into a fist fight outside. Bowman, my guy, if you're trying to not look suspicious, showing up at the hospital to beat the tar out of the guy you're suspected of trying to kill should be the last thing on your to-do list. In the tussle, Myung steps between them and takes a shot to the jaw from Dyson accidentally. Myung exclaims that she thinks it isn't fair that she had to give up her past while the two of them get to go on and live their dreams of being pilots. We know that Myung hates the decisions that she's made in life, and she deflects that back onto Dyson and Bowman, blaming them for her being in this position. All three of these people are kind of toxic, let's be honest. Myung goes back to her hotel room only to find the creepiest scientist, Marge, there, and he tells her that they're leaving tomorrow because Sharon has a big concert at the 30th anniversary of the Space War Armistice. Bowman meets with Myung at the airport and says that once he wins the project, he'll follow her to Earth and always protect her. Myung's reaction to that is pretty negative, honestly. It really feels like she just wants him to leave her alone. Bowman even gives her something that he calls his good luck charm, something that he's held onto throughout his career as a pilot. And when she listens to the recording on the ship, it's one of her old songs from her youth. Bowman has really never let go after all this time. Colonel Millard delivers some bad news to both Dyson and Bowman. The project has been officially cancelled, and the orders come directly from the general in charge of their entire team. The government has created a fighter named the Ghost that is completely AI controlled, lacking a pilot entirely. Dyson takes this about as well as you could expect, and by that I mean he sneaks into the YF-19's hangar to steal the craft, planning to take it directly to Earth to blow up the Ghost. Newman figured out that this would be Dyson's idea, and he's already waiting there and ready to go. Since the Ghost Fighter is supposed to premiere at Sharon Apple's show right at Macross Lake, the huge reservoir holding the old SDF-1 Macross, they plan on going directly there and blowing it out of the sky right in front of everybody. Dyson and Newman blast their way through the hangar and make a full jump before planetary security can stop them, and this leaves Millard to ask Bowman to retrieve them in the only craft that can catch up, the YF-21. Sharon Apple's head scientist / creator, a man named Raymond Marley, meets with military leadership, and they congratulate him on finally completing the Sharon AI. Marley confronts Margie on this later, who comes clean to using an illegal military AI microchip to complete her program. Marley tells him that this is crazy because those chips contain a self-preservation module that could cause it to go bonkers and kill everyone if they lost control of it. Marley picks up the phone saying he's going to cancel the concert, but Marge shoots him as his true goal all along was to create a truly sentient AI. Myung stumbles upon Marge right after he kills Marley, and she runs away, eventually being locked in a storeroom by the killer Sharon AI. The AI begins strangling her with a bunch of wires, which it can somehow move around. I don't really know how the AI accomplishes that. Someone on their art team had a really particular fetish with this part. Sharon reveals her holographic form to Myung and tells her that she loves Gold, but she loves Isamu Dyson even more. This causes Myung to flip her shit, as this mirrors her true feelings that she's been running from for years. Dyson arrives at Earth, blasting through a bunch of defense satellites and using their debris as a shield to enter Earth's atmosphere without being shot down. Sharon's concert has begun, and not only has the malevolent AI hacked into the Macross's defense systems, her music has everyone around completely entranced. Bowman finally catches up to Dyson, and they have this high-octane, really intense dogfight, all while arguing about the most petty shit possible from back in high school. I really do hope that everyone in this entire city is at the concert, because these two are causing a lot of collateral damage. Finally, Bowman locks onto Dyson and fires a storm of missiles. During the resulting explosion, Gold has a flashback where he finally remembers what happened on that day 7 years ago. Bowman had found Dyson and Myung in an intimate moment, and in a fit of rage, he was physically abusive towards her, going so far as to rip her shirt off and grab her by the neck. Apparently, the shame of this caused Bowman to just invent false memories and blame the resulting fallout on Dyson. But before he can lament the death of his friend, it is revealed that Dyson survived the missiles. In his words, he cut his engine and rode the wind, just like in the old fixed-wing plane from their youth. While Bowman realizes that Dyson and Myung kept the truth from him because they didn't think he could bear to know what really happened, he's just happy to have his friend back. However, this warm moment is fleeting as they're interrupted by the arrival of the Ghost. Realizing that there's no time to waste, Bowman tells Dyson to go ahead and save Myung while he takes on the AI fighter. Dyson speeds off, leaving Bowman to face the world's most advanced military machine. Bowman takes the limiters off the YF-21, knowing that there's only one way to finish off the Ghost. He puts the speed to max, ramming the Ghost and spending his life on a bet that Dyson can save the woman that he still loves. Sharon has completely taken over the Macross, and it's really cool to see the old ship as a set piece for the show's finale. I love the intricacies on the ship's design, and its unique profile is always what I think of when I think Macross. Also, Marge is super entranced that he finally finished his ultimate evil goal of making a megalomaniacal AI hologram woman, and jumps off the side of the ship and kills himself, so that's cool. Newman thinks he can upload a virus into Sharon's operating system if they can get close enough, but the hologram shows up and entrances him. The song that Sharon is broadcasting entices Newman to pull a gun on Dyson, but he's ejected out of the YF-19 at the last second. Dyson tries to resist the siren song, but is soon lulled into a stupor as well. It's only because Dyson hears Myung's old song over the comms that he's able to come back to his senses. There's a really cool part now where Myung gets out of her bindings and she runs around and gets a machine gun like in the first Die Hard movie, and she shoots the Sharon Series X head, but it doesn't really do anything because she's kind of all of the Macross at that point. While Myung had gotten out of her binding, she had fallen into despair when faced with the reality of Sharon's feelings. The Sharon AI was able to talk her into a near catatonic state by telling her that Dyson doesn't really care about her, that he never cared about her, and now that Sharon exists, Dyson won't need her because he has everything he'll ever want in her, a scary AI droid. But when Myung hears Dyson and Bowman reconcile over the comms, it revitalizes her. With his senses back, Dyson pulls the most Dyson move of all time, crashing directly into the Macross and destroying the control unit and putting an end to Sharon's ambitions. The series gives us a beautiful look at the Macross and city as the sun rises, with the title telling us the series is dedicated to all future pioneers. Something tells me the team was really proud to be working on this franchise again. Macross Plus is a very brief but incredibly worthwhile piece of mecha media. It has the benefit of telling a standalone story that does evolve the world of Macross, but is reined in enough to stay focused. Some might not like the fact that the first official sequel in this world is a relatively self-contained tale, but honestly it's smaller stories like Macross Plus and War in the Pocket that make me love this genre so much. I can see not liking the main trio, as all three of them have pretty toxic traits that make me want to scream sometimes, but hey, it's a very human story, and what is more human than being a cringy weirdo? Also, I can see why some people would kind of hate Bowman's character because he was abusive towards Myung, and then like they kind of play it off as though he's forgiven, even though he never talks to her or apologizes to her about that whole situation. But he explodes, so I guess all's well that ends well. Plus was followed up that very same year with the release of Macross 7, a 52 episode long full anime series that now I really want to see. Either way, I hope this inspired you to give Macross Plus a look if you haven't seen it, and if there's something that you do want to see on this channel, please comment below. I keep track of pretty much everything that people recommend to me, and I have it all in this big Google document, so rest assured, if you've commented it down there, I probably saw it and added it. I have like just mecha anime, I have like 120, and that's not counting Gundam, so, and then all the other stuff, even more, so you know, it's there, trust me. So until next time, this has been another anime retrospective in the books. And you know what? I will see you in the next one. Hey there everyone, and welcome to today's end card. I'm pretty damn proud of getting this one out as fast as I did, even though a lot of other people get content out faster, but I'm just one man. Let me go ahead and thank my channel members, as always, aka Batosai, Argent, Griever, Ashar Causer, Brian Sanchez, D. Mills, Daniel Johnson, Danky Stank, Swanky Mank, Deader V. Gert, Joe Castellanos, Joe Cavazos, John Lamb, Johnny G, Canto 20, McLean Nugent, Mr. Smash, Trey Hardy, Zappaslave, and Video Gamer 75. I did not try to do it in one breath that time. I did not feel like it. Thank you guys so much for the continued support. It is amazing as always. I hope you enjoyed it. I have some interesting stuff coming up. I think the next video is going to actually be a Mecha Through the Years video, because that seems like a really fun thing to do right now, and I just kind of want to do it. And then after that is going to be Gundam Age, which is really, it's not my favorite Gundam, all right, but it's interesting to say the least. So be on the lookout for that in October. As always, also the gaming channel is going along, having fun down there. It's like a little secret club, so head over there if you want to be part of that little secret club. Otherwise, thank you guys all for watching. I really do hope you enjoyed once again, and I'll see you guys again very, very soon. I promise, I guess. Have a good one.